Test, 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 test.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Christie kicks it high and short. Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25.
Yeah,
pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got.
Listen to the crowd. Here's the snap. Here's the kick. It is long enough. It is good. Still loose as they get it to Rogers. They give it back now to the 30. They're down to the 20. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's looking over to the end zone. He's looking to the end zone.
One into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game.
And now, coming to you live from the entertainment capital of the world, Mission Viejo, California, it's Chicken Wings and Pizza on the FYI Ministry Studios Radio Network. Here's Big Mike and Hebrew.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another live Saturday night at Chicken Wings and Pizza. I am your illustrious host, Mr. Michael Williams. You know me as Big Mike. Hebrew's out tonight, so I will be flying solo. Well, not solo. I've got my producer, Project Pluto, over in the corner. What's up, Pluto?
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
that's loud.
Yeah, no, that was very loud. As a matter of fact, my eardrum just broke. So we actually are very happy to have you guys tonight. Got a lot to talk about in the sports world. But I want to go ahead and get us kicked off tonight. And obviously, with Hebrew's absence, we want to pay reverence to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is a Christian radio show, or excuse me, it is a Christian radio show with sports included. We do sports from a Christian perspective, so just wanted to let you all know that. If you're brand new to the show, welcome. If you're returning, welcome. However you may be listening to us, whether it's on NBBA, Not by Bread Alone Radio, Power 102.1 out of Boston and Atlanta, on the TuneIn app, Roku, Facebook Live or YouTube Live, or just on good old FYIministry.com. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I wanted to start with our Bible verse of the evening. It's going to come out of Matthew 6, and it says, "But when you help a needy person, do it in such a way that even your closest friend will not know about it. Then it will be a private matter, and your Father," referring to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, "who sees what you do in private, will reward you." And obviously, that verse pertaining very specifically to not trying to get recognition for everything that we do, but doing it humbly and unto the Lord and not necessarily unto men. And really, we want to stay humble as much as possible, so that's definitely what that verse is speaking to me. Pluto, do you have anything to add in our reference, our scripture reference from Matthew tonight?
It's good. It's good. I like the keep it private part. I like the not using it as something to showboat. Just genuine acts of generosity.
Right.
Are what our Lord wants, and I think it's very important that He put in that private part to kind of keep us humble, so we're not pounding on our chests all the time. So it's a good verse.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you. I have to give Bible Study Tools credit for that one, though. I didn't just come up with it by myself. But we definitely... Don't give me the... Wow, really? I get the Price is Right sound this early in the show. I must be doing terrible right now. So anyway, Pluto, can you go ahead and give us a quick update? I know the NHL Stanley Cup Finals are going right now. Okay, we got to wait on that update. Not a problem. We will go ahead and get
We got to wait on the internet. Hold on.
Okay, fair enough. So,
wait, here we go.
Okay, go ahead. What is the what's the score right now? Keep in mind, everybody, the Pens are up 2-0 in this series on the Nashville Predators. It did go back to Nashville tonight. So what are we at right now?
With 23 seconds left in the second period, it is 3-1 Nashville.
Woo! So the Predators are looking to get a win. PK Subban obviously came out very confidently and said that the Predators were going to get back on the right track. Predators are a good hockey team despite the fact that they have the worst record of any team in the playoffs. However, they are playing like the best team in the playoffs. So we'll see how that holds up, and we'll let you know throughout the show. Obviously, big news today for the Dodgers, who came back from being down 8-3 to Milwaukee, and ended up winning the game 10-8. Obviously, Pluto, you being a big Dodger fan, you're very happy about this.
I thought it was over after that. There was a grand slam like in the fifth.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Oh, and it was like 8-3. And
yeah.
at that point, I just stopped listening. I'm like, forget it. It's not. But I was watching I was keeping an eye on the updates, and they battled back. We got hits. Utley got some hit. Drove in stuff, and
right.
We're getting consistent production out of the whole length of the lineup. So I'm loving that.
There's no question about that, and obviously
I can't wait till Turner comes back from the DL.
Absolutely, and not to mention the fact you have the best pitcher in baseball, and we're going to get to Clayton Kershaw a little bit later and talk a little bit about his accomplishments. But I want to start with the big thing of the week, and obviously that would be the NBA Finals, and they started on Thursday. Wow, that's one heck of a sound effect. My opening analysis on this is real simple. I'm very confused with what the Cleveland Cavaliers were wanting to do. They came out and tried to run with the Golden State Warriors. For those of you who haven't watched the Golden State Warriors play a whole lot this year, they run and gun as good as any team in NBA history. They are prolifically a good three-point shooting team. They have Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who unfortunately has been invisible for the last 11 playoff games. But let me ask you a question, Pluto. Are we at a point right now where Cleveland is going to have to change their strategy to even have a chance in this series? Or do you think they shoot threes well enough to run and gun with the Warriors?
No, I'll answer the last part first. No, they do not. I was watching that game one. It is automatic with this Curry and Durant. Every time, I understand that they're professional and this is what they're supposed to do, but I have never remembered a time where they're just raining buckets so automatic. It was to the point where you get to the end of the beginning of the fourth quarter, you would see the Cavaliers fall back to defense, and if they saw Durant Durant would just go right through the paint. There was a couple instances where they just let him go by, dude, what are you, traffic stop?
Right.
And when Curry gets the ball in his hands, or Durant gets the ball in his hands outside the 3-point, everyone just shrugs their shoulders because what are you going to? How can you defend that? And if you try to hit that, you're going to get fouled. You're going to get a 4-point play. It's the craziest thing. But we're to the point where the first part of your question I want to answer is something you chimed in with on Facebook, which was a meme, but it was a meme that had a really good point, saying that didn't this happen before? I mean, everyone's already. It's game one. Everyone's already for the finals to be over. But I remember last year. It was last year?
It was 48 points were the difference in game one and game two.
Right.
And everybody.
And they lost. They completely canned the first two games.
Well, exactly. And here's the thing: after game two last year, you had the Warriors winning that game by 33 points. And I literally remember every pundit in America going, the Cavs are done. This series is over. Right. There's no way they're going to win. This is just
they're doing it.
It's a wrap.
They were doing on Mike and Mike.
Exactly.
This morning.
And then when they were down 3-1, rightfully so, everybody thought they were out of it. There was no way that anybody thought they were going to come back. But I want to get to the Cavs and the way they play, because obviously, and isn't it weird that Steph Curry, when he puts up a three, it's more likely to go in than not?
Yes, that's my point.
I mean, that right there.
When have we come to a point with a player?
I have never felt that way about anybody.
There are more misses. There are more makes than misses.
Exactly.
That's out of 3-point range.
And that's at 26 feet. He's doing it not from right next to the 3-point line. It's 26 feet away. And then on top of that, you talk about the Cavs game plan. They didn't play physical. They come out. I posted on Facebook. And by the way, check out the Chicken Wings and Pizza Facebook page for all your sports update and news throughout the day. If you have anything you'd like to hear about and you're listening to the show, check us out, like the page, and suggest to us what you would like to hear. But I wanted to go ahead and point this out. It comes out, oh yeah, we're going to play more physical in Game 2. Why was that not the decided thing to do in Game 1?
And that's their advantage. The one advantage, of the many advantages is their physical play. They're bigger guys.
What are we watching? Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, and LeBron can post up? Like, what are we doing? You guys are trying to run with the number 1 3-point shooting and fast break team in the NBA, and you're trying to do that. It's nonsense. Get physical. And then on top of that, the Warriors had a plus 16 turnover differential. I know that sounds like the NFL. I miss it so much. But this is the thing. The Cavs turned the ball over 20 times. LeBron had 8 turnovers by himself. Then on top of that, the Warriors set an tied an NBA Finals record with only 4 turnovers. 4! Oh my goodness, you only turned the ball over 4 times in the whole game, and 2 of them were awful Steph Curry passes. I mean, they were just dreadful. He's throwing the ball to Zaza Pachulia behind his back. Steph Curry should know better that Zaza Pachulia is not the guy. And here's the thing. It was the Warriors' night. Zaza Pachulia had to play in the lane where he literally threw the ball up behind his head and it bounced in. I mean, you're not going to have a night like that every single night. And it's one of those things. And Andy, we're not talking. Andy Raven, we love you to death. We are not talking about wrestling, player. I am sorry. There's way too much going on in the world of sports.
Wrestling?
I mean, wrestling's not even a real sport, technically.
Like WWE?
Yeah, like that.
Andy.
So
we're going to talk later.
So we talked in just a second ago, the fact that the finals are not over yet. And one thing that I want to bring up to people, and a lot of people don't seem to remember this. The Cavs were down 3-1, which is a historic deficit in the finals because it had never been overcome, ever.
Right.
At any one point, the Cleveland Cavaliers get no credit for coming back, and you can give it to LeBron, you can give it to Kyrie, you can give it to Kevin Love. I don't care who you give it to. It's unbelievable that nobody gives the Cavs any credit for coming back from a 3-1 deficit. Everybody blames the Draymond suspension. You know what the biggest part of them coming back was? That had nothing to do with Draymond Green. It had to do with Andrew Bogut getting hurt and their rim protection going away. And then in Game 7, you had no rim protector when James was driving to the hole and Kyrie was driving to the hole. The one thing that the Cavs can do is get physical in this series, and they have to stop turning the ball over. There is no way that the Cavs get back in this series. And I'll tell you this much, LeBron James may have had 28, 15, and 8, but he played an awful game for having that stat line. He looked flat. His shot looked awful. His shot decisions were worse.
Game over,
and
man.
not to
Game
mention
over.
the fact that Kevin Love had 15 and 21. 15 points and 21 rebounds. He had 21 rebounds in an NBA Finals game, and they lost by 22. That should tell you right there that their shot selection was awful the entire game. And I have a message for LeBron James. Dude, you got to hit your free throws. Like, you can't be missing 6-7 free throws in a game.
He should make. I mean, don't show me videos of you making crazy shots. From halfway court.
You can make
don't
a
post
full
anything
court,
if you can.
You can make a full court shot, but a 15-footer with nobody in your face is impossible. I mean, give me a break, man. That's ridiculous. And because I'm accused of being the president of the LeBron James fan club, I resent that remark only because of the fact I am critical of LeBron when it needs to happen. There's no question about that. When he was resting during the season instead of leading his team into battle, I 100% was hard on the fact that he was even doing that. I mean, this is just garbage. It's ridiculous to even watch. The Cavs come out and lay an egg, basically, in the first game of the finals. And here's the worst part, Pluto, and I would love to hear the opinion of the fans on this. How is it that the Cavs are down only 8 at halftime? And why does it seem like the Warriors come out of halftime so fresh and they're literally lighting it up from center court with all these shots? And not to mention the fact that the Cavs weren't guarding anything in the paint.
No,
Kevin Durant had so many dunks.
Man.
It was ridiculous. It wasn't even close. But let me ask you a quick question. If somehow the Cavs come back, and by the way, just for the fans out there who might not know, I actually have the Dubs in 7. Like, I like the Warriors in a good series, but let me ask you a question, Pluto. Should the Cavs come back and win this series, is it by far the biggest upset we've seen recently in the finals, being with what the Warriors are as an offensive team?
I think, you know what, if you're buying into all the hype.
Well, a lot of people are right now.
A lot of people are. But I think we have a tendency, well, at least in the sport media, we want to judge the whole series by this one game. You know, all the pontiffs get up there and start, giving their
pontificating.
You know what? It's one game. Yeah, they got blown out. Let's see how the Cavs come back and respond. And by the way, this is all in Oakland, so we'll wait to see what happens when we go back.
Now, if there's Game 3 and this is happening, the series is over.
Yeah, if we're in Cleveland and this stuff is going on,
still, it's done.
Because
you can forget it.
Because to go along with that, if we're in Cleveland and this is happening, we're assuming Game 2 went the same way as well.
Well, I would tend to say this: the Cavs have a must-win game tomorrow night.
Right.
Because if they don't win Game 2 in Oakland, I really don't see how you're beating them. Especially, here's my thing: why do you not make everybody but Durant and Curry beat you? Klay Thompson was 3 for 15.
Yeah.
He played the role of Harrison Barnes. I mean, for crying out loud,
defense.
Harrison Barnes actually probably had a better shooting percentage in the finals last year than Klay Thompson did in Game 1. I love Klay Thompson. I actually think Klay Thompson.
I liked him last year.
Is
I liked
good.
him a
Here's
lot.
the thing: he's still a splash brother. He can still shoot. The bottom line is the guy's in a massive slump. Make him and Draymond Green beat you.
Yes.
Like, why are you not double-teaming Curry and Durant and letting Zaza Pachulia shoot 10-footers? Like, why is that not happening?
Yeah.
But we'll see. Tomorrow night, the NBA Finals, Game 2 is going to be at 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. For those of you listening on the East Coast, which we definitely appreciate. 5 on the West, 7 in the Central Time Zone. We'll see how that goes. And shout out to Chris Lemoyne, Jeremy Farding, Andy Raven, my wife, Whitney Williams, probably my kids, Abby, Micah, and, oh my gosh, I forgot one of their names. Hannah, sorry. My mom and dad and everybody else who's listening to this show, and all of our wonderful listeners, however you're listening to us. It doesn't matter how. We really do appreciate it, and we appreciate you being here with us tonight. If you're just tuning in, my illustrious co-host Hebrew has the night off, so we are just winging this thing right now. I don't have anybody to argue with about LeBron James, so I'm rather disappointed about that. I wanted to get to another topic that I think is really important right now, and that is the fact I'm a huge fight fan, and I know for a fact Hebrew is too. And Earl Spence, who's in the welterweight division, KO'd Kell Brook in Britain this past week. He went to 22-0 with 19 knockouts. Kell Brook is no slouch. He's 36-2 with 25 knockouts. And this welterweight division is starting to come back. It's starting to have a little more of that old school feel, Pluto. It's starting. Boxing is getting some fresh faces right now.
Well, good, because it's, I mean, as a guy who's not really into boxing as much as you and Hebrew.
Right.
But it still stays on my radar because I'm a sports guy. I feel like between the time it takes for a match to show up and all the negotiation and all the hype that is almost WWE level, I crave for a really good matchup, and it sounds like that's what you've got there.
Well, and part of what the welterweight division, provides is you've got these guys going toe-to-toe, and it's not quite like the heavyweight division. Heavyweight division's a little more set. Welterweight is one of those where it's an in-between, where you can be in the middle, if you want to move up in weight or down in weight a little bit. Like, it's one of those classes that's really distinguished over time. So we'll have to see. But in order for Earl Spence to be thought of as the actual champion, he came home with the IBF. He's going to have to beat Keith Thurman, who, for those of you who don't follow boxing, Keith Thurman is 28-0-1, and he has the WBC and the WBA welterweight titles. So that fight is going to possibly be coming next year, and I would actually like to see that fight more than Alvarez and Triple G, because I actually think that fight is going to be spectacular. I mean, that's two really good fighters who have never lost, going right up against each other. But don't get me wrong, Alvarez is going to be tremendous against Golovkin. That's going to be an amazing fight. One of the things that I'm really interested in, too, is we have the UFC and boxing hopefully making this merger, at least for a dollar's perspective, between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. But here's the interesting thing. Conor McGregor, ESPN released a thing yesterday that he is already training, which Hebrew and I have been talking about for weeks. Like, we already assumed that they were training, but he released that. He also called Floyd out and said, my paperwork's done. Now it's time for yours to get done. And it sounds like McGregor wants this fight really bad. Unfortunately for Conor McGregor, he's going to get knocked out. And it's not really going to be close because Floyd is a boxer by profession, by nature. He's naturally quick, and he's got the quickest hands arguably in the history of professional boxing. You're not going to knock out Floyd Mayweather.
Let me ask you something. Are you, as a sports fan, as a boxing fan, fight fan, whatever, are you looking at this fight as more of a spectacle and you just want to see what's going to go on, or do you feel like you're going to see this incredible competition between two athletes? Do you feel like you're going to get a good match, or is this just a ploy, a way to get some new eyes on some different things?
Okay, this is what's going to happen. You're going to possibly have this fight, and I'm tending to agree with Hebrew more and more by the day, that it's going to happen next year or so, because you've got big fights coming down the pipe.
It's just that other fight.
Right, because Alvarez and Triple G took the September 16th date. So you're not going to be able to do it then, and McGregor wants to fight twice this year, so who knows if this fight happens this year, next year, whenever. As a boxing and UFC fan, I can tell you this right now. It is 100% a money grab, because there's nobody who legitimately thinks this fight is actually going to be competitive. Nobody with half a brain is going to sit there and tell me that this fight is going to go more than 3 rounds. And if it does, it's strictly to give the people a show. This is an entertainment value fight. It has nothing to do with real boxing or real MMA, not to mention the fact that, you know what, when this fight actually does happen, people are going to be really disappointed if they
That's
get,
what I'm thinking. I mean,
if they get
all this hype.
If they get Tyson and Spinks from 85,
right,
you can forget about it. If it's a 30-second knockout, that's ridiculous. I mean,
and is it boxing rules or is it
it's
MMA?
Boxing. Yeah, Mayweather's going to destroy
Why would you enter a fight with half your weapons taken away?
75 million reasons. 75 million reasons why Conor McGregor, the reported...
You want to get your beat on national TV after all of this? I mean, I know it's a lot of money. He can't get money anywhere else.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a real serious question. Conor McGregor probably hasn't made that much in his career yet.
Really?
You're going to take one punch from Floyd Mayweather and make $75 million plus all of that pay-per-view money? I'd take a shot from Floyd Mayweather in the mouth for that much money all day. I don't care if I can't even talk ever again. For my wife, that would probably be a wonderful thing. I'm sitting here telling you, there's no way that I'm letting Floyd do anything. Hey, Floyd, you know what? Put it right there, buddy. Like, literally give me one right on the chin. For that much money? Are you kidding me?
You think he's going to... Do you think he'll try to win?
Oh, of course. McGregor's ego's way too big not to try. Way too big not to try. There's no way he doesn't.
Okay.
There's no question. And then just to finish up the fight news, I wanted to get your take on this, and you're more the casual fan in this regard, Pluto.
Yes, this is true.
Do you think Jones-Cormier at UFC 214 or Alvarez Triple G is a bigger fight? Which one would appeal to you more as a casual fan?
I would like to see Triple G.
Okay, and what would be your reasoning behind that?
You know what? And me being a casual fan, it can't be to something specific that I can just, I would just say from the coverage of the news that I've seen, from you and Hebrew talking about it, from watching other sports shows, people seem to be much more interested in that. That seems to be the fight that's captured people's attention.
Well, it certainly has.
Yeah. So I as me as wanting to see the spectacle that goes along with it, I'm drawn to that one. So I think that's going to be the bigger fight. Yeah.
I would tend to agree with you, and not just on that, but I think UFC's lost a lot of its luster.
Yes.
Because I feel like the Jose Aldo fight tonight is actually a really, really good one, because Jose Aldo is pound for pound the best fighter in UFC, arguably the world, if you consider the art that he's doing in MMA. But obviously, you're not going to equate that to boxing because it's a completely different thing. But my point is that even with fights like Aldo and a guy who's really, really talented like that, the glory days of UFC are over. The days of Liddell and Shamrock and Ortiz and all these guys who were Hall of Famers in the sport fighting all at the same time. And it's one of those things. Can't leave out Randy Couture. I mean, you can go down the list. John Bones Jones and Daniel Cormier is going to be an interesting fight. I'm not saying it's going to be a great one because the first one was a decision, which I didn't think it should have been. Jones should have knocked him out. But Cormier's a great competitor. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on the guy. I just feel like Jones and Cormier is not going to be the bigger fight of those two. And if you get a fight like Spence against oh my gosh, his name's escaping me, Keith Thurman, that's going to be a bigger fight in my opinion than two of those combined. And UFC doesn't have the same novelty as boxing. I think that's always hurt it. You have like 40 UFC events a year, and it's free on Fox. You go on HBO, you're going to sit there, and you're going to pay $40 for that fight, or you're paying for the HBO package, or you're stealing somebody's cable, or you're doing something. Shout out Andy Raven. But anyway, my point is that we need to move on to one of your favorite sports. And Woo. In baseball, I got to bag on my Angels a little bit. I know we're going to be up against it in a minute. The Angels are awful. They are the pursuit of 600 for Albert Pujols is the only entertaining thing. There is, you know what's funny? If you walked up to the casual Angels fan outside of Pujols and Trout, I wonder how many players they can name. I'm putting the over/under at 5 because I honestly, hey, come on, that's my over/under, dang it. It's my crappy team. Leave them alone. And I know what everybody's saying out there. Well, Mike, you're supposed to be a homer for your team. No. They're 28-30 by God's grace, and they are 100% a terrible team when it comes to pitching. Their pitching staff is so awful that I think I'm going to go try out. Like, they're dreadful. Outside of Shoemaker, they're not even a pitcher on their staff who's a starter with a winning record. I mean,
how did it come to this?
They're awful.
Like,
they are awful.
They knew that
their farm system is so bad. They would do better having Babe and the sheep. Like, that's how bad they are right now. The Angels are awful, and they need to be ashamed of themselves. And you know what? I don't necessarily blame Scioscia. I mean, Scioscia having this team 2 games under 500, having Joe Smo pitching every night, that's actually not a bad job managing by Scioscia. But my point is this team has to get themselves right. I mean, Trout's going to be out another 7 weeks, and you've got a team in Anaheim who was winning perennially for over a decade, and now all of a sudden you're a team who... And then how disappointing was it for Angel fans? And I know there's Angel fans that can speak to this who are listening. They had the best record in baseball. They go play the Royals, who are the wild card team, and they get swept. I mean, that's terrible. That is terrible. The Red Sox did that to them years before, but the Red Sox went on to win the series. And the Red Sox have won 3 titles since 2004, so they turned into a little bit of a dynasty. But in regards to the Angels, Billy Epler needs to get his act together and get some offense in there, because you know what, Billy?
There's nothing coming out of the lineup.
No, absolutely not. I have a question. Why does anybody even throw in the strike zone to Pujols? Why not just walk him every time? Seriously, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of in The Waterboy when they kneel down so the Waterboy can't play defense and bust everybody up. That's what you should do. Just throw outside the strike zone to Pujols to make everybody else beat you. And that's exactly what... They have guys in their lineup hitting 0.83. Literally. It's not even 10% of the time they're getting a hit.
I would just send the whole team down and just bring up a whole new... I mean, it can't get much worse. Just bring up a whole...
I don't know if the whole team...
Just bring the whole farm up. You know, keep Trout, keep Pujols, you know.
You know what? Actually, I think Mike Trout with a fractured finger would at least have a 150 batting average like that. It's just ridiculous. But
he could at least walk on.
But I want to get to your boy Clayton Kershaw because he needs to be recognized for his accomplishment. So there were 2 pitchers who have done it faster than Clayton Kershaw to get to 2,000 strikeouts. Do you have any idea who those 2 might be? It was in your notes, so I'll see if you read it. No, don't look now.
The guy who hit the bird. Sorry, guys. I got dyslexia.
Randy Johnson was number 2 on that list, and Pedro Martinez is number 1.
I didn't think Pedro Martinez would be the first one.
Pedro Martinez was Pedro Martinez struck out everything in the 90s. Like, he was absolutely ridiculous. People forget how great Pedro was because he spent the first part of his career in Montreal. I remember one year he went 20, and guess who originally had him? The Dodgers.
I was going to say...
He was with the Dodgers organization, and they traded him to Montreal.
Like quick.
Like super quick.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want to keep him around. That was a good move.
Whoopsie.
Thank you very much, Ned Coletti. But my point is that you have to look at this from the Dodgers' perspective. Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher of his generation, hands down. The guy literally is 7-2 this year. His ERA is 2.36. And he is having a season already that is worthy of an MVP.
The lowest whip
ever
in the history of MLB.
Even close. There's nobody even close to him. Like, and the guys who are close to him pitched when, I mean, they literally wore like potato sacks for shorts. Like, that's the last time that they were close. That's the last time this happened. I mean, it's amazing. So the LA Dodgers have been on a little bit of a hot streak lately. They lost 2 in a row to the Cardinals. They're much closer to the Rockies now. And, you know, honestly, man, I picked the Red Sox and the Dodgers to go to the World Series and play each other. I feel a whole lot better about the Dodgers right now than I do the Red Sox. Because, honestly...
Who do you like coming out of the AL?
Right. Well, if I'm looking at it right now, the Houston Astros haven't lost a game in a month. So I mean, and I'm being sarcastic.
By the way, Pujols is up at bat right now.
Okay, so for those of you who might be near a TV, or Andy Raven always puts it on his Facebook Live, but just watch us because we're prettier. We actually, if Albert Pujols does hit number 600, we will let you know about it. But let me ask you, as a Dodger fan, Pluto, what do you think, man? I mean, are the Dodgers finally going to take it to the series? I know I asked you this last week, but being that Kershaw is pitching so well, if Rich Hill doesn't have a blister every third day, then, I mean, they're often... How has Adrian Gonzalez not hit a home run? How is that even possible at this point? Like, he's got a couple RBIs, but the guy... It's Adrian Gonzalez. How is he not hit a homer?
Is that, you know, that...
How is that
It's got to mess
possible?
with his head. I don't know.
That man is paid to hit home runs.
But I can say that at least, and we were talking about this at the pre-show, at least the whole lineup's generating something. You're getting something from everybody. You're getting at least batting stuff in. Cody's slamming stuff. You're getting RBIs. You're getting a small trickle out of everyone. And as long as they can keep doing that, and the bullpen can hold it down, which I know is just pretty much, you know, as long as we score more points, we'll win. You know, as long as they can do that, I think it's great. But me being a Dodger fan with a long memory, I have many a nightmare of us getting into the playoffs and then out the first round.
Well, you know? Absolutely. And I mean, here's the thing. Chris Lemoyne, one of our regular listeners, brings up a really good point. That Kershaw has struggled mightily in the playoffs. He's something like 4-8.
He's not.
His ERA is terrible. But here's the thing.
Terrible.
Not everybody's Whitey Ford in the playoffs. Like, not everybody can sit chairman of the board, Whitey Ford, my favorite nickname of all time. But this is my thing. You cannot be great all the time. I understand that, but think about this, and I want to point this out to Dodger fans who are like, well, yeah, Kershaw sucks in the playoffs. Well, here's the thing. How many times has that man gone out of a game with a 1-0 disadvantage? Like, literally in the NLCS in 2013, I'll never forget the game against the Cardinals. He struck out like 11. He didn't walk anybody. He pitched 7 innings, and it was 1-0 St. Louis. Like, it's like the other day against the Brewers when they won 2-1.
He was 1-0 for the...
He literally had 14 strikeouts, and it was 1-0. Like, give the man some run support. Like, give me a break.
Yeah. No. When I see 1-0 in that 7th or 6th inning, I go crazy. I'm like, do something, guys.
If I'm picking the World Series, and I never back off my picks.
Oh, here we go.
But here's the no. I'm not changing my pick from the beginning of the season. But if I have to do it right,
If you have to
do it right now, it's the Astros and the Nationals. I mean, there's no. Okay, here's the thing, and look. The Nationals' pitching is good. Their offense is beyond better than last year, and they are a complete team. The Dodgers still struggle at times with that offense, and you know just as well as anybody. They had to beat the Brewers 2-1, and their pitcher struck out 14. I mean, that's struggling on offense. That's
not every game. That's not consistent.
No. But here's my point. You're talking about the fact that the Dodgers have to be a little bit more consistent. They just have to be a little bit more. If they're a little bit more consistent, they'll be fine. If they're more consistent on offense, they're starting pitching, and Jansen's a stud. Like, every time that guy comes in a game, I'm like, oh, I can turn it off now. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't think he's blown a save all year. Like, he's played really well. But, hey, that's going to complete, and I can't believe we got that done in one segment.
That's all you got?
But that is going to be the sampler platter for tonight.
Look at that. Wow.
And we got it done in one segment. That's unbelievable. We are going to take a short station break, and we want to, again, thank our affiliates. However you are listening to us tonight, whether it's on NBBA Radio, that's not by Bread Alone, Power 102.1 out of Atlanta and Boston, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Roku, the TuneIn app, or just at FYIMinistry.com. We will be back shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining Cw&P on a Saturday night, live from Mission Viejo.
I got something to say, and you might not like me for it, but I'm saying it in love. So let me talk, and you listen. Come on. Yo, let me talk for a minute or two. I got a mission to do this rap music, yeah, I'm sick of it too. I throw this curveball out, bro, yeah, I'm pitching to you, and stir some controversy up, I'll consider that too. I'm sitting back, I'm listening to all the garbage out. We starving people lyrically, nobody will acknowledge that. Christian or secular, I hear it on the regular. You wanna challenge me? Go ahead, I'm begging you. These rappers talk about it. They talking like they'll change the game. They even shout out Jesus' name. They acting like they praise his name. We need to go deeper. Go and raise your speakers. I'm about to go all in. This your girl, don't try to bleep her. Yeah. Talk about this topic properly, not hating, don't be blocking me. I'm talking through the God in me. I wish we had more honesty, and while we rapping, time to see who's the real deal and who's been busy robbing me. I know the business side of music, know the politics, I know the hustle and the grind, the mental state. I'm no psychologist, I'm not a newbie going in your list of X. I've been rapping on so many stages, thousands people know my set. This ain't about my lack of knowledge, I'm just tired, bro. These rappers getting louder, the truth is getting quiet though. Saving souls or earning money, doing shows to earn some money, only posting pics with certain people, now we looking funny. Are we really Christians? Put that in the equation. If Jesus took our gift away, would we still want to praise him? We rap about how our music's all about serving, then we get up off the stage to want to talk to one person. Do this out of love and do this out of selfishness. Happening too many times, I saw how artists dealt with this. They need some help with this. They need to practice what they preach. Staying humble's a priority before they speak. I ain't perfect, but I'm learning. I'm discerning what it means to be an artist that's deserving the respect of my fans. These fans that held me through the years, they're the reason that I'm still here pushing my career. Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me talk. The music industry is grimy, yeah, I get it. And we gotta make a living, so I give these rappers credit. It's not easy being an artist, and a Christian won't forget it. But if this is God's calling, better take your pride and dead it. Yeah, I said it. Before you go and write a verse, if you ain't saving lives through your actions, then your lyrics have no worth. Forget the autographs and private green rooms. Reality checks are clearly something that we need soon. It's the truth, I don't know why people trim it. They never talk about this, maybe cause the word Christian's in it. The word Christian's in it, but not all Christians in it. You gotta mimic, play the part, and hope this soul is with it. I admit it, no one's perfect, but fakeness, I can't be it. They say we're on the same team, but I don't see it. Do you? Take a breath. Is it true that we're losing it? You don't believe me? Watch the game. These players will be proving it. I miss the old days of hip-hop when our hearts were pure. Before social media made us insecure. How many followers we got today? That's what we're stressing. Just focus on your music. Pray that it could be a blessing. We need a change, need conviction. No, we used to have it. I want to thank my listeners that I could talk about it. Yeah. Let me talk. Let me talk. Yo. Let's remember why we doing this. Why we picked this mic up in the first place. It was so we could change the world. Let's get back to our roots. Let's remember why we doing this. God bless you.
Welcome back to Chicken Wings and Pizza on a Saturday night in Mission Viejo. However you may be listening and wherever you may be listening, we appreciate you. Thank you so much to our affiliates in BBA, Not by Bread Alone Radio, Power 102.1 in, oh my gosh, Atlanta and Boston. Wow, I almost forgot for a second. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Roku, the TuneIn app, and FYIMinistry.com. I am Big Mike. I'm not, unfortunately, joined tonight. Hebrew's off this evening, but we do have the esteemed Project Pluto producing over there in the background.
Hello.
Hey, there he is. And we're just giving you our sports opinion, man. We definitely appreciate everybody chiming in. And Stephen T. Griffin, thank you for tuning in from Washington, D.C. We definitely appreciate it. And this is an international show, folks. We actually appreciate all of our listeners in the Philippines, right. Mexico.
Philippines and Mexico.
Absolutely, as well as several other countries that unfortunately are eluding me at the moment. But we do appreciate everybody tonight. And I want to get to a topic, Pluto, that I think really deserves a little bit of attention. And I know a lot of people found this funny. I unfortunately have found it very sad the way that Tiger Woods has fallen off. And, you know, we talk about the fact that Tiger Woods, you know, obviously he had his infidelities, he had some issues back in 2007 initially, then the divorce from his wife, and then he's had 4 back surgeries, hasn't been able to get his golf swing back intact. And when you have a back injury as a golfer, anybody who's ever played golf knows that that's going to be a very crippling injury to a pro golfer. And one thing that or any pro athlete.
Right.
And really my thing is I wanted to share, you know, Tiger Woods, as much as it is one of those things, you can call it karma, you can call it whatever you want. The bottom line is it's sad. And for a guy to have a free fall over a 10-year period of time is pretty unprecedented.
It's been a 10-year.
I mean, he's gone from 2007 to now. He hasn't been able to get his form back. He hasn't been able to get back in the swing of things, no pun intended. And really, yeah, where's the sound drop on that? But my thing is that, see, he can't find it. He can play the Price is Right one all day. But my thing is this. Do you find there to be any solace in the fact that his DUI, if he really did what his publicist said, which was mix up his painkillers, which he has apparently 4 prescriptions, and he supposedly mixed them up, and that's the reason that he was driving under the influence and not alcohol, or does it make a difference to you? I mean, is it here or there or what have you?
As a man speaking who might or might not have been in trouble with the law for maybe the same thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so let's say let's just take him on face value.
Okay.
He mixed up the drugs.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. You're in the middle of the car before you feel the effects. Like, oh, I shouldn't be behind the wheel. Like it just hits you like at bang, and you're all of a sudden impaired. As someone who had a past and maybe took many pills and drugs, you know it's coming. You know what you know you shouldn't be behind the wheel. So, I mean, at some point, yes, it's better that it wasn't alcohol and he wasn't partying and then just trying to get away with stuff. I mean, I don't know what he's doing in the car at 2 o'clock in the morning, where he's coming from or where he's going to, you know, with you know, you're hurting enough to have 4 prescriptions. What are you doing at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Well, here's the
running
thing.
around.
My mother always told me nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
That's what my mom said, yeah.
And see, I beg to differ. But my thing is this. I am one of those people.
Hey, Chris online.
Chris.
Chris is right on.
You're worth $700 million. Hire a driver. That's exactly
Uber.
Right.
Get Uber.
I don't care. Get your own Uber. Get a guy who doesn't work for Uber, who dresses really sharp. Call him Alfred and have him drive you around all the time. Like, I don't care what you do. Here's my thing. And I had this, and I'm not going to get into the details.
Unless you're out doing something you're not supposed to be doing, and you got to drive yourself.
And that was going to be my point. Like, are you out it's fine. You're out doing something you're not supposed to be, or you're sneaking around or doing something crazy. That's going to be the reason that you're going to get caught doing something. And here's the thing. If you put painkillers in your body and you already know what they're going to do to you as an adult with a driver's license, you're responsible, period.
And he has tons of experience with prescription pills.
I was going to say, here's my thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. You're an adult. You are old enough to know better to get behind the wheel of a car. I already know if I drink Benadryl, and I mean literally drink it out of the bottle, I can't drive.
Do you do that a lot,
Yes,
Mike?
no.
Are you drinking Benadryl out of the bottle?
I only have.
Do we need to have an intervention?
I only have allergies 300 out of 365
Bro,
days.
I hear you.
So
Don't worry, I hear you. You're guzzling Benadryl,
yeah,
man.
exactly. So here's the thing, though. As an adult, I know that I can't get behind the wheel of a car.
That's correct.
So here's the thing. Tiger Woods has got to know the same thing. And Chris hit it right on the money, man. You got $700 million, hire a driver. And that's my thing. Like, you got that
unless
much
you're doing
money
something. Unless you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing.
Well, exactly. And Tiger Woods, unfortunately, has been notorious for doing such things. So
I mean, what else is he doing at 2 a.m?
Well, and that'll remain to
and
be
how come
seen.
we haven't heard anything about that?
I do like the fact that he took responsibility for it. He didn't try to pawn it off. No, look.
What was he going to do? They got him on camera.
But wait a minute. Think about this. How many of these guys who have that much money try to pawn this off and say, oh, well, but here's what happened. Like, he didn't do that. He said, I take responsibility for my actions, period. And that's the thing. I do appreciate that he did that, but it was also a stupid thing to do at the same time.
To that point, and this is a whole different subject, but this whole era that we're in of when the celebrity or the athlete does something wrong and takes responsibilities for his actions, they got the dude on camera.
Was that like a fake British accent?
I don't know what that was.
Again,
I think it was like some old car. It's like I think it was like a Sean Connery thing. I can't pronounce my R's. Anyway,
I'll take it for $200. I can't finish that.
I'm so over these celebrities and athletes telling us that they're taking responsibility as they stand up there. Bro, they got you on camera. You can take responsibility or you don't. You can do whatever you want, bro. But they got you drooling and on dash cam. So that point to me is a mute point if you come out and if you expect to have some kind of praise because you came out and said I take responsibility.
And I'm not gonna say this lightly. I got 2 points on this, and then we got to move on.
Okay.
One, when Scioscia and McGuire were hitting home runs, and then they sat in front of the Supreme Court and lied at first and then took responsibility. This is the exact same thing to me. You knew what you were doing was wrong, so you tried to get off of it, and then when you couldn't get off of it, you sat there and you were like, you know what, I take responsibility for my actions.
Yeah.
This is the exact same thing, and let's remind everybody, not that I'm making light of this, DUI stands for driving under the influence. It doesn't matter what the influence is.
Right.
So if you're an adult and you get in a car, you need to know what you're driving under, and that's the bottom line with Tiger Woods. And it's very sad to see his fall. I would like to see him come back at some point, but I think at this point in his career, it's kind of like,
dude, I can't.
What are you gonna do?
I just really quick. I like how Tiger Woods has to be in that dumb Tiger Wood golf hat everywhere he goes. Like they pull him out of the car.
Have you seen his hairline in the mugshot? No wonder.
And that was an interesting mugshot too, by the way. But I just love he's not. It's like Slash with the top hat. He cannot do anything. Without being in Tiger golf.
You leave Slash's top hat alone. Leave it alone. GNR's amazing. Don't you start with me. No. Don't start with me. Headbangers Ball was my favorite show at 13.
But I'm just saying he cannot just be normal Tiger Woods. He has to be in this golf outfit all the time.
I know.
Every time you see him, he's in this golf outfit.
He's like running down the street. He's got a polo on.
Yeah. He's got that little vest with the.
No, but anyway, we hope Tiger Woods gets the help he needs and hope he gets better. I mean, without a doubt. But you got to be more responsible than that, period. So there's no question.
Whoopsie.
Anyway, we're going to move on. So we want to get to deep dish, and I thought it was appropriate to bring this up with the Tiger Woods conversation, just talking about teammates and friends and people who help other people out. And this is really kind of dedicated to those people who help those out with addiction and everything else. And we focus this show from the perspective of our Lord Jesus Christ. And one of the things that we do on this show when we talk about deep dish is go a little bit deeper into issues that do have to do with athletics and what have you, but also have to do with the fact that as how they relate to the Bible. So I wanted to talk about friendship and teammates for a minute. And we pull from 1 Corinthians 15:33, which says, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. And then also from Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And then looking at what those verses mean to us, for me personally, the company you keep is always going to have an impact. The company I kept when I was 18 to 21 is definitely not the same company I keep now, and that's for a reason, because I got in a lot of trouble when I was 18 to 21. I was doing a lot of things I shouldn't have been doing when I was that age, and really, you grow and mature, and if you don't grow and mature, you end up running with the same type of crowd your whole life. And a lot of times, if you're running with a bad crowd, unfortunately, it leads to unfortunate circumstances, as I have personally found out. But my thing is that I'm so grateful for a Lord and a Savior who keeps us grounded, who actually has that interest invested in us, that we are actually able to rely on Him to give us everything we need and not have to want for that friend. We can pray and ask the Lord to provide that to us, and that's what I find to be amazing about God and His Word. And that's really such a reassuring thing for me, is that there is no doubt that when I'm having a tough day, or I'm having a day where maybe I'm not doing things the way I should, or I'm not associating the right way, or I'm doing things that don't make any sense to anybody else, I have the Lord to lean on, because I might be struggling with something that day, like driving my car with painkillers in me, or having no, and I say that in all seriousness, or giving into an old temptation or something.
Well,
the Lord's right there.
That's a great point with Woods and what you just brought up, because I mean, even if Tiger Woods doesn't have Christians surrounding him,
right?
If he had decent people, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying if people had access to him and he was open in his life, there'd be somebody who came up to him and go, "Bro, you're full of prescription pills, homie. You know, let me take you where you're gonna go."
I mean, you would have there be somebody like that.
You would have like if me and you were hanging and I'm seeing you drooling in your golf hat, I'm gonna be like, "Dude, let me drive you home to the missus," or whatever the deal is at 2 a.m. You know, you gotta have buds with you, and if everyone's got a bad head, you know, you're all in trouble. But no, those are great verses, and it's a good point, and it's especially poignant for teammates and that whole team philosophy.
Well, the team dynamic is so important in sports, but it's important in life.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
my team are friends like Chris Lemoyne, Jeremy Farding, Andy Raven, Kyle Curry, Greg Curry, my wife, you know, my kids, my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law. I can go down the list, and that's my team. So if one of us is struggling, we all struggle. We all have to pick each other up. And my biggest thing is that, you know, like I have a friend in Doug Gospel who I talk to regularly about tough issues. But you know what? Doug's always there to listen. And I have you and Hebrew here. If I'm having a rough day, man, you guys always pick me up. There's no doubt about that. And it's like one of those things where you have to have the right people around you in order to succeed. Period. Anything else to add, Pluto?
No, I think that was it. Good job.
Perfect. So that is our deep dish segment.
We miss Hebrew.
Yeah, we really do,
Hebrew?
because we definitely. Hey, can we get an update on that Pens Predators game? Speaking of sports, going back to that realm.
Let me pull up the magical Facebooks. Magical interwebs.
And by the way, I do want to bring up, if you guys are looking for a home for your sports, that you want a clean environment.
5-1 in the third.
Okay, that's pretty much a 2-1 series at this point. If you guys are looking for a clean environment to get your sports from, the Cw&P Facebook page under Chicken Wings and Pizza Christian Sports Radio Show is awesome.
Lots going on.
We do daily updates. We put the stories on
from Mike's bathroom.
From your. You would be amazed how much of the content that's on this show gets written in the bathroom, pal. So, but my thing is that you want to go ahead and look at the Facebook page. We've got all the updates from the MLB. And like we've told you before, if you guys are looking for an update that's not on there, let us know, and we will go ahead and take care of it for you. But there is one thing that I want to get to, Pluto, before we hit our break and we go to sweet and sour in our next segment. What do you think about the discussion we had last week? And I want to bring this up for a very specific reason, and we would love everybody to chime in on Facebook or however you're listening to us on Not By Bread Alone or Power or what have you. Jump on the live chats on YouTube and Facebook and let us know what you think. What do you think about Hebrew's assertion that Scottie Pippen was a role player? And I'm specifically asking this because I went home and did some research. And I actually find what I found to be amazing in terms of what Scottie Pippen did for the Bulls. So what do you think about that assertion? Not saying it's wrong.
Right.
I'm just asking where you sit on that fence.
I think I need more clarification on the term role player.
Well, role player to me, I guess this is how I'll do it because unfortunately Hebrew's not here tonight.
Hebrew.
Role player would be somebody who's not an important part of the team all the time, but when you need him to fulfill his role, he can do that for you. I would consider Pippen more of a Robin to Batman for Jordan than I ever would a role player. I mean, because Pippen...
That's how I looked at it.
Pippen is more than a role player. He is... Scottie Pippen, the 1 year Michael Jordan was gone completely. They were 55 and 27. He finished third in the MVP voting. He was first team All-NBA, first team All-NBA defense. He was the All-Star Game MVP and took the Bulls to 7 games with the Knicks, who eventually won the Eastern Conference in the second round. So my thing is...
we would call that, in this day and age...
You would call that James Harden without the turnovers.
Right.
Is essentially what you would call it. But here's what I want to allude to. Then I looked into it even deeper and found out that before Scottie Pippen came along, Michael Jordan never won with the Chicago Bulls more than 40 games in any one season. Not only that, but when Jordan didn't have Pippen throughout his career, he never won more than 40 games. That's with the Wizards and the Bulls. So my thing is, as important as Jordan is to any team, and he's the greatest player of all time, I told you why I believe that last week. My thing is that Pippen was just as important in getting those rings as Jordan. I saw a phenomenal thing when it listed the points per game, rebounds per game, assists,
I saw that
steals.
too. I saw that graphic.
And Pippen led in every category in the playoffs the 6 years they won titles, except for in points per game and shots. And literally, those were the only 2 categories. I'm not saying Jordan was not the catalyst.
No, I think Pippen gets a lot.
I don't think he gets enough.
I was gonna say doesn't get a lot of it because he's under the Jordan shadow, and that's just gonna be the way it was. I mean, he's got to. But I think if Pippen came out at a different time when Jordan wasn't playing, or let's say he's on a different team, and it's just he's my brain just went blank. He's the turnover guy without turnovers. He's Harden without turnovers. You know,
well,
he's a solid.
And but that's
you could build it. I think you could piece a team around him. If you were hurting for superstars and that's what you've got.
But here's my point. You can piece a team around him, but let's keep in mind, when Jordan retired, he did have a team around him. The biggest benefit he had that Jordan did not before Pippen arrived was he had Phil Jackson as a coach. That's the one argument you could make is Phil Jackson is such a great basketball coach that he was able to take Pippen and put players around. I mean, they had Tony Kukoc. They had good guys. It wasn't like it was a team full of scrubs. I'm just saying that it's really interesting to call Scottie Pippen a role player, but Scottie Pippen in his own right was a Hall of Famer, a 50 greatest player, and the 1 year Jordan's absent, the guy's a top 3 MVP candidate and All-NBA. So I don't feel like role player was properly defined last week. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I think Scottie Pippen's an excellent basketball player. Period.
Who would be an obvious role player to you right now? Who is a role player right now? Any team.
JaVale McGee. Because he comes in, he plays defense, he blocks shots, and that's what he does, and he rebounds.
Okay.
That's exactly what he does, and that's what he is paid to do. I'll give you a maybe even better example of a role player would be a guy like Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford's role for the Clippers is literally to come in and score and handle the ball.
Right.
That's literally what he does. There is no other job for Jamal Crawford does not get put into rebound. Jamal Crawford gets put in to hit threes and do his thing, and that's why he's been the 6th man of the year multiple times. See, that's where I'm at with this whole thing. Like when you're playing a role on a team, you're doing it specifically for one reason or another. Rodman is a great example of a role player. He was never an offensive juggernaut, but he could rebound and play defense like nobody else.
Right.
That's where that's where I'm going with role player.
Got it.
And Dennis Rodman's a Hall of Famer, but Scottie Pippen, the big difference between him and Rodman, Scottie could do everything. Scottie could literally light somebody up on offense and on defense at the same time. I mean, that's why I don't consider him a role player necessarily. I define role player, you have a role on a team. You're not good both ways necessarily. You're good one way most of the time. So, and that's just one of those things that, I mean, do you agree with that definition?
Yeah, no. Once we got the definition right and we determined what a role player is. Yeah, no, Scotty, like I said, if Scotty did what he did after Jordan left for that 1 year, and if you're able to piece it, that's not a role player. A role player is like a Rodman. He comes in, he does one thing.
That's what I'm saying.
As soon as you hear the name, you know the one thing he does.
When I think Dennis Rodman, I think of three things: tattoos,
hair color,
and rebounding. And that's literally what he's known for. And let us not forget, when he was a when he was a Detroit Piston,
yes,
he was Defensive Player of the Year, which he was with the Bulls as well.
Uh-huh.
He got 37 rebounds in one game in the modern era. Like, I mean, think about that for a minute. 37 rebounds for one player. I mean, that's insane. That is literally what Wilt Chamberlain used to do on a good night. Regularly, but Wilt was also taller than everybody else. Dennis Rodman was notorious for taking charges, blocking shots, rebounding. He would guard the other team's best player all night.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Guys like Karl Malone outweighed him by 50 pounds, and he was still taking Karl Malone on and winning half of the time. Maybe half's too much. Maybe I would say maybe 30% of the time.
He certainly didn't back down.
He certainly was a disruptor. There's no question about that. He definitely disrupted people.
Winning.
Very nice. People, however you may be listening, we are up against the station break. When we come back, Sweet and Sour will be our next segment. It is our number one segment and our most popular, and we'll be talking tonight about many topics in the sports world. We would love for you to chime in however you may be listening, whether it's on NBBA, Power 102.1 out of Boston and Atlanta, whether it's on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Get in on those feeds and let us know what you think. Or you're listening on the TuneIn app, Roku, or just FYIMinistry.com. We appreciate you. This is Cw&P on a Saturday night in Mission Viejo.
Winning.
Confusion all around, we are just suffering. We traded truth for a lie. Now we stumble around, just walking like we blind. We need to wake up and stop believing foolishness. Don't get stuck, the sinking sand will capture us. Slippery slope, don't fall down to soldier ground. Stand on the rock, never changing foundation. When the vibes go into the air, you know that they feel ya. Run from the night, boy, just don't let them steal ya. Get up and fight them, yeah, just don't let them kill ya. Run towards the sun because that's where he can heal ya. Light up the sky like the 4th of July, yeah. We got that fire, fire. Spark a light in the dark of the night, yeah. We are that fire, fire. Light up the sky like the 4th of July, yeah. We got that fire, fire. Spark a light in the dark of the night, yeah. We are that fire, fire. I know the truth and where it's found. My eyes were open, now I see it all around. You feel confused, full of doubt. Take the rocky roads, stop following the crowd. We need to stand up and walk in love with everyone. Don't give up, keep walking till you see the sun. Love endures and lights up every step you take. Don't veer off, keep focused till you see the gates. In the vibe, go into the air, you know that they feel ya. Run from the night, boy, just don't let them steal ya. Get up and fight them, yeah, just don't let them kill ya. Run run towards the sun because that's where we can heal ya. Light up the sky like the 4th of July, yeah. We got that fire, fire, sparkle light in the dark of the night, yeah. We are that fire, fire, light up the sky like the 4th of July, yeah. We got that fire, fire, sparkle light in the dark of the night, yeah. We are that fire, fire. Tonight we got that fire, that fire. Who got that light? If you got that light, put it in the air tonight. We got that fire, that fuego. Who got that light? If you got that light, put it in the air tonight. We got that fire, that fuego. Who got that light? If you got that light, put it in the air tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the FYI studios. We are having so much fun on break, we forgot we were supposed to come back.
Whoopsie.
Thank you so much to all our affiliates once again, and all of our listeners and viewers, however you may be watching or listening, whether it be on NBBA, Power 102.1 FM out of Atlanta and Boston, Roku, TuneIn, or just on good old Facebook and YouTube Live. Chris Lemoyne is taking our NBA cards, apparently, for calling Dennis Rodman a role player. However, Chris, I have no idea how you would define him otherwise, because he literally played a role. He was in... I don't know that Dennis Rodman was ever an all-star. Like, that's one of those things that I don't think Rodman was ever voted to the all-star game. And all-stars are... I don't believe so. I could be wrong, but I don't think he ever has been. And it wouldn't surprise me because NBA All-Stars are generally really good all-around players. Having said that, though...
What was that?
That was the...
What was that, Mike?
That was a bad signal. Can we get an update real quick on the Pens and the Predators? I know it was 5-1 last time we checked, and it was a blowout, but I just want to make sure we update the fans.
It's the final is 5-1.
Final is 5-1, so basically the Predators did exactly what PK Subban said they were going to do. Was Rodman ever... a all-star there, Pluto?
Hold on, because I was...
Oh, he's in the process of looking it up. I don't want to put him on the spot. I just did. So we're going to get to our favorite, and I'll do my best Hebrew impression here. Again, those of you who are not... and Chris, by the way, I mentioned he was in the Hall of Fame. I didn't admit that.
He did.
I absolutely said he's in the Hall of Fame. Just because he's a role player doesn't mean he's not in the Hall of Fame. He was very good at what he was known for. I'm not saying it that way. I'm just simply saying that Rodman was known for a couple particular things, and it was not jump shooting. But anyway...
Dennis went to the All-Star twice.
Oh, so
90 and 92.
Very nice. So he's a two-time All-Star. So my apologies to the folks. Thank you for the correction.
Two-time All-NBA team.
Oh, very nice. So he's on the All... Now, see, that part doesn't surprise me because of how good a defender he was. He was a really good offensive rebounder. He makes Tristan Thompson look silly. I mean, that's ridiculous. But anyway, we'll talk about Tristan Kardashian another time. Right now, we're going to talk sweet and sour. Yeah, I did a terrible job with that, but that's okay. Hey, don't shake your head at me like that. Horrible. Come on, man. So I want to go ahead and start with this, Pluto. So 76ers advisor Jerry Colangelo said on Friday that the people around Lonzo Ball present a quote-unquote challenge for teams heading into the NBA draft. But in fairness to Colangelo, he said he likes what he sees on the court and did say that people around him would cause him to pause and not pass on Lonzo. Are you sweet or sour on that?
First of all, this whole Lonzo thing,
I know it seems like an every week thing because
because it is. But I think that's to my point. And we were talking about this at the break. Is there no one else on the horizon that is getting GMs excited like Lorenzo is, and is half of that because of his father? I'm sour on it. I feel like he's. I mean, dude, just give him an NBA ring already. Like everyone's just way puffing too much smoke up this guy, and no one's seen him play an NBA game yet. No one has seen him play an NBA game yet.
Well, and that's true, but what I want to get to is this. At least Colangelo's honest. I'm so tired of Magic Johnson going, I don't consider LeVar Ball, or Adam Silver going, I don't think LeVar will be a problem when he's drafted. People, he's a problem. LeVar is a huge issue because he's not going to back off because he's trying to build $1 billion brand, according to him. So you think that LeVar is going to go away? And here's the thing. I'm sweet on the fact that Jerry Colangelo actually said something about this. And not to mention the fact that he at least said it's challenging, but I'm sour on the fact that people are trying to assume that this is not going to affect Lonzo Ball and where he goes. Now, I think he's going to the Lakers because I think that's just the popular pick. I think that's where he ends up. I don't think if the Celtics keep the number 1 pick, which I'm not entirely convinced that they will, that I don't think they draft Ball. But you know what? If you're looking at it objectively, Lonzo Ball does fit what the Celtics need, which is a passing, distributing point guard. And my thing is this. Jerry Colangelo's 100% right when he says that it's going to be one of those things where people pause and say, man, is Lonzo going to be a problem? But they're not going to pass on a guy who they feel can change their franchise. If the 76ers get him at 3 and he's playing with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and he's even 75% of what all these people are puffing him up to be, dude, he's going to be ridiculous. He's going to have assists off the map because he's going to have 2 guys down low. But Ben Simmons handles the ball a little bit more than most. But Joel Embiid can shoot the 3. He can play the post. Same thing with Simmons. I mean, you put him with the right guys, he's probably going to be very good. So I think Jerry Colangelo at least was honest about where they're at on this. But in terms of, is it going to be a problem? I still think LeVar Ball is going to be a bigger challenge than what even Adam Silver realizes because he's more focused on making dollars, although passing up a $10 million endorsement contract from Nike and failing to work out the number 1 pick for the Celtics lost him another $2 million if the Celtics don't take him for that reason. And my thing is Markelle Fultz looks like he's going to be the first pick in the draft. So with all that in consideration, I think Colangelo can at least be commended for his honesty. But this Lonzo LeVar Ball thing, this is like every single week. Like we get into this discussion in one way or another.
The reason I was sour about it is because basically in his statement he says, yeah, this guy's a problem, but he's so good that we're going to overlook it. That's the crux of his statement. We talked about this before.
Right.
Yeah, he's got skills and he can toss a rock, but the numbers he was pulling in college were what we discussed. Were average. I mean, best labeled.
14.6 points a game and 7.7 rebounds.
An average.
In college, 7.7 rebounds is considered above.
Okay.
Okay. So
I just feel like everyone has fallen into the old man's trap of discussing him and this is exactly what his father